What does your favorite Epic the Musical song say about you according to a psychology graduate student? Part 22. All right then, if Legendary is your very favorite song in this entire Epic the Musical, I'm going to put you into Camp 1 and say that you are an anime protagonist waiting to happen. That's right, I want my Naruto, my Midoriya, my Tanjiro, my Luffy, anyone who sincerely believes that you could talk no jutsu, a horrific serial killer, out of a plan that they have for world domination, belongs in this camp. You love this song because you genuinely have the vibes that if everybody is just happy and coming together and believing in the best of those around them, then there's nothing that we can't solve. How did that go for you when you were in high school and you were just like, come on guys, power, friendship, and people are like, I have bills to pay, even in high school, my family's not doing great, and you discovered that there were problems in the world that could not be solved with a plucky attitude and the desire to do good. Now, does that mean that you should change that positive mindset that you have? Absolutely not. The world needs people like you. We need people who look at a situation and say, okay, let's hear from a lot of different people. Let's put on our vibes, like our just general desire to do good, and see what happens, because people like you are the ones who get community projects started. You get fundraisers, you're the campaigner, you're the protagonist. You are the person who's able to bring people together, formulate a cause, and stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. However, where you tend to struggle is something called toxic positivity. If you've seen the movie Inside Out, the character of Joy is a perfect representation of toxic positivity. That is when you go from having just a genuinely good outlook on life to being forced to be happy all the time and making other people happy around you. Even if it's at the risk of your own sanity, of your own feelings, of what you need, you are afraid of being seen as a burden because there's very good possibility that that has been placed upon you to be the class clown, to be the happy one, to be the person who puts your needs aside for the benefit of other people. You're not allowed to have a bad day because other people have it off worse than you. No, you can't say that you're sad or you're depressed or you're angry or you're just feeling not yourself that day, because it's your job to entertain everybody around you. It's your job to make everybody happy in the friend group, and if you don't, what worth do you have? Yeah, I know that stings. I understand. I have been in that camp before. It is when you have such good intentions and yet you kind of force this positivity mindset on the people around you. Unfortunately, these are also the people who will say like, well, I'm sorry that you're sad, but at least you have your health, or at least, you have this. Anytime you start with saying, at least, I call those sympathy daggers. That is saying, well, yeah, that really sucks that you lost your job, but at least you're healthy. Or, yeah, that really sucks that guy broke up with you, but you know what? At least you're pretty. You see how that might not exactly be the most helpful thing that you need to say in that moment? It's okay to be happy. It's also okay to be sad, to be angry, and to allow people to feel what they need to feel. It's not your responsibility to make everyone around you happy. It's up to their own well-being, their own mental health, and their own journey. And you can be an active participant in that journey, but don't neglect what you feel and what you need, and taking the time to listen. Camp number 2. Hello, my ADHD, autism, neurospicy baddies. How are you today? It's been a little while since we had a song that encapsulates us as well as this one does. There is the desire to always be pushing forward and to feel like you don't belong with people around you. And that goes a step further for people who have this as their favorite song. How much do you want to break out of the world that you have? I call this the Belle syndrome. It's the I want much more than this provincial life. You would give so much. You would give your right leg to be transported to a fantasy world, or to at least be put into something that has meaning for you in this one. You suffer with a boredom that people do not understand. It's like the Bo Burnham song says, that apathy is a tragedy and boredom is a crime. You live in a continual state of trying to stave off boredom, whether that is escapism through anime, through video games, through D&D, writing, whatever it may be. You hate being bored. being bored is the worst because it is kind of your base state. You have the desire for novelty, the desire for something new, for adventure, or just to feel like you're not empty at the end of the night when you lay down in bed. You want so much more than what this world has. Your tendency to maladaptive daydream is alarming. You have the ability to really connect with Telemachus in this song when he's like, give me sirens and giants and a hydra, and I know it's scary, but I want to be legendary. I want to prove myself. I want to show what I can do. I just need to have the ability to do so. You probably also really related to Mirabelle in Encanto, and if you've noticed a lot of pop culture references in this video, that's not by accident. There's always method to my madness, and it's because you like to communicate in pop culture references, whether that is movie quotes, anime quotes, epic lyrics, whatever it may be. That is how you communicate, because you have the tendency to take an experience, make it your own, and then share that with somebody, and unfortunately not everybody enjoys that. You're accused of being self-centered or making everything about you, but that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to relate the best way that you know how. And that's a very common problem that neurodiverse people go through. It doesn't mean that you're selfish. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that you're trying to connect, and how deeply that connection means to you. How much you want to connect to other people, connect to life, and connect to yourself. You want so much more than what you have been given. You want adventure. You don't necessarily know what you would do if you got it. In fact, it'd probably be really terrifying, but you just feel an innate sense of otherness to the people around you. And camp number 3. The weight of expectation that has been on you since such a young age is not fair. It's not okay. Your parents shouldn't have done it to you, your teachers, whomever it was. You have been expected to be great, to be legendary from so young. It doesn't have to be, a big standing epic, but you were expected to be the best that you could be, even if it was in something you may not have had a lot of interest in, whether that's sports, academics, chess club, I don't know what it is, but something that you had no interest in that people forced you into. What musical instrument were you forced to learn from a young age? Doesn't matter, I'm just curious. Go ahead and leave it in the comments. I had that in my Caitlyn video for Arcane. It works in this song as well. You were expected greatness from a young age. Whether or not you could actually fulfill that, you don't know, but it was still expected of you. And that crippling feeling of just not being enough has shaped how you interact with the people around you. There is a deep fear of disappointing people who are authority figures in your life. Even if you don't want to acknowledge it, even if you are a person who fights the government, fights whomever is over you, you would give anything to have a specific person who's in your mind say, I am so proud of you. You have done well, and I'm so pleased to see what you're doing, and you've always been enough. How much would that mean to you to have that? Telemachus wants to go off and prove himself. Does he want to leave where he's always been? Sure, but there's a big aspect of trying to prove that he is his father's son, that he can stand up to all of these things because these are the stories that he grew up with. It is similar for you. Whether you have an older sibling, your parents, whatever it is, or just the image that they placed upon you, you always feel like you're having to fight for your place in this world, and that you leave people wanting. My darling, you are enough. You are wonderful. You don't have to go off on a big grand adventure. You yourself are the adventure, and you are a worthwhile one. And I'm so proud of you. You don't have to change who you are to belong here. I am so pleased with what you're going to do, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And yes, there are some who are just here because at the end you have Aaron Alexander's incredible voice saying boy, and that changed the brain chemistry. I know. We're gonna be deeper than that. But I'm running out of time. I'm so happy that you spent this time with me, and I'll see you in the next part. Stay classy, my darlings.